talking about this concept of entanglement, right? We were talked about how we felt this morning. How did we feel in our bodies when we thought about these things? How many people know that there are 1 in 3 people on the planet with anxiety and depression disorders? Right? How many of you have felt in your body a moment of anxiety or panic that you couldn't identify the source of? And so that's because we have forgotten who we are in relationship to life. Our creators, not one singular, but in our true stories, we have Kachiniwesk, who is, the keeper of all of the eggs, right? And then we have Ekchamundo, who is the masculine, the seed of life. And so the Jesuit missionaries, changed Kachiniwesk, it's the kusk at the end that makes it feminine, into Kachiniwes. And they made Ekchamundo the devil. And so then it became singular God in the sky. And so Kachiniwes and Ekchamundo came together, right? The eggs and the seed of life. And there was this one egg that carried that seed of life. And it's hard to hold a handheld mic and talk with my hands at the same time, but I'm going to do my best. And so our story, Willie one. See, now in our language, the word for man is the helper of the woman. Yeah. So that when that seed exploded with life, sounding familiar, right? We have this Big Bang theory. Life exploded and continues to expand across the known universe. When that happened, we didn't separate into individualized beings. We are simply individualized expressions of one being. And so we understand ourselves as still being physically, spiritually, and emotionally and energetically connected to one another, right? All life, not just other human beings, not just our human families. It's not just the cells of the child in the body of the mother, right? What we understood in relation to these teachings that have become quite trite and labeled as web of life teachings, right? Which you see all of these tacky memes on social media about. What we were really talking about is what scientists now know as quantum entanglement, which tells us that whenever any matter was once physically connected, it can never be spiritually or energetically disconnected. That's why when you have an amputation, you still have sensation in your foot that is no longer there, because the matter that once comprised your leg is still spiritually and energetically connected to you. And so when we start talking about all of these phantom illnesses and anxiety and depression, what you're feeling is the suffering of the species going extinct. You're feeling the suffering of the mothers whose children are starving to death. You're feeling the mother wail, Taliqua, who carried her baby around for 17 days to say, look at what your interference with the natural order is doing. You're killing my baby. We're feeling that in our bodies. And so when we start to understand that level of connectivity, then we start to understand that we have responsibilities that build the foundation for every single right that we claim. Because our first agreement, our first Lagutawagan, was with creation. And we have a treaty with the whales. We have a treaty with the trees. We have a treaty with all pieces of creation, all of the living beings. Hawk was saying about the nouns. We don't have the word the, doesn't exist in our language because we do not objectify our relatives in the created world, right? And so we have to understand that whatever right we claim for ourselves, we have to take responsibility for ensuring that that right is also honored for every other being within life. And part of that process is ending our childlike dependence on these hierarchical structures of the patriarchy, where there's, the feudal lords and the peasants, the guardian and the ward. We have to start emotionally and spiritually maturing to the point where we take responsibility for our peace in balancing creation. And the how we do that is just as important as the why and the what, right? Because if we do it under ideologies of conquest, if we do it with the language of warfare, if we do it in a sense that continues to lead us to believe that the world can be broken down into commodified, saleable, fragmented parts, we are not going to get the outcome that we are seeking. So we have to do it in the same way that we have to bring ourselves forward into the world. We have to allow it to emerge as one whole living being. So, Kachi Wiliwan, Pasilda, and Dilnabamak, thank you so much.